I never know what you've got coming up next. I spoke to you a few days ago. You told me about your latest project. Is this your first album that's come out in the last week or so?
Yeah.
Under your stage name, Principal Character, Madness in the Method has been released. This is a full album, isn't it, of completely original songs and comic asides and interludes and sort of musical sort of opuses. It's sort of part prog rock, part sort of indie electro synth style music. I don't know how to define this. So, put me out of my misery. You tell me how you would define Madness in the Method from Principal Character, your new album.
Yeah. This is a dream come true, really. I've been writing songs since 1992, but because I'm not very skilled on the production side, this is why I've got here we go. We're in character now. There we are. This is this is why I'm being told I look like a gangster. So on the front cover there, that's me there on the billboard, looking down at the Audi as it crashes into the speed camera. I'm going to have to put my reading glasses back on because I can't see anything. That's me being cool for a second, folks. Yeah, now back to being boring again. Right. So, the Principal Character. So that's I'd been writing songs for decades, 30 years, but I'd always got fed up with myself because I can't really play a musical instrument that way. Well, it's sort of three fingers on a thumb on a keyboard, on a synthesizer.
It's more than I can do.
Not a great singer either. But what I can do is come up with catchy melodies and I write from the heart. So you'll have some of the songs can be quite heavy going in terms of the subject matter. I mean, there's a song on it called The Point, which is about existentialism and nihilism. And it just goes through the lifetime of an average person and just keeps saying, what's the point to that? What's the point to that? Until the universe winds down and collapses at the end of the song. So rather than me just put it out in my simple, basic way, I contact musicians who really do know what they're doing. So the song The Point was produced by a gentleman called Gavin Lloyd Wilson, who goes under the name Spurious Transients. You'll find all his own material at Bandcamp, spurioustransients.bandcamp.com. I was the narrator for one of his albums, actually. I don't know if you're aware of it, Dan, called Something Strange Came Out of the Skies. So I'd already done.
Were you the kind of Richard Burton?
I was the Richard Burton, yeah. Yeah. No one would have believed that a man with a husky voice who's recovering from a cold would narrate so well. And so I did all the narration for him on Something Strange Came Out of the Skies, which is about it's like krautrock music, electronic synthesizer stuff. So he composed it all, and it was a sort of documentation of UFO sightings in Wales in the 1970s. It's known as the Welsh Triangle. So he has people reenact the eyewitness accounts.
Why haven't I heard of this?
He wanted me to do an impersonation of John Craven because there's a John Craven's News Round feature on it. Okay. I did my best John Craven. And then he said, would you do the narration as well? So he sent me a script. I recorded sort of 30 minutes worth. And so it's all put together into this LP. And I'm on it all the way through, really. So because of that, I said to him, could you produce a couple of songs for me on my album? So he did The Point, and he did another one called The Earth Is Getting Rid of Us. But then there are other styles in the album. There's a wonderful artist, singer-songwriter in his own right, called Alexander Hume, and he produced most of the songs on this record. So I basically create the melody on my keyboard. I sing the vocal. A good friend of mine, Kelly Fry, will then put the backing vocal on. So I go down to her house 2 or 3 times a year, and she records all her bits. So she doesn't record the entire song. She just records the choruses, really. And then once I've got everything together, I then will send it off to Alexander Hume and say, can you realize this, properly? So he will either take what I've done and enhance it with guitar and keyboard playing of his own, and then remix it all, or he'll completely remake the song from scratch. Most of the songs on Madness in the Method are completely remade. So it's my melody, my words, my voice, Kelly's voice, but all the instrumentation is Alexander Hume. And he's done a brilliant job of it. I can't sing his praises highly enough. So we talk about the eclectic styles. Like there's a song called Annabelle Blue Eyes. So he would say, well, what do you want?
That's a standout track on this, because you've been very kind. You've sent me a copy of this, of your album there. This fabulous sort of gate pack here, this digipack there with this, we are all the, we're the principal character. We are the principal character in the story of our own lives there. Yeah. And Will's, there it is. Look, and there's your barcode and all the rest of it on the back and all the credits. So it's a full release.
That's made by a company called Elastic Stage. They're the music equivalent of print on demand. So, in books, you have print on demand publishing, where you can order 100 copies and they'll make 100 copies and send you 100 copies. Or you can order just 1 copy and they'll manufacture 1 and just send 1 out. So it's the equivalent of that, but in music. So I think they're the only company doing this at the moment, Elastic Stage. So that CD is available from them. And there's a vinyl LP as well. I've got it on vinyl. The artwork, I saw somebody commented on that. That's
Several
a very talented artist called Owen Claxton. He did a number of book covers for me with my little indie publishing company that I share with Teresa Cutts, FBS Publishing. That's Fabulous Books. And if you've seen the Colin Baker book, Sixth Sense, that we published, Owen painted the cover for that. And Colin the Camper Van, Timothy Bentinck's children's book, he did all the artwork for that. So we've been working with Owen for a while. So I'd in conversation with him, he said, I've always wanted to do a record cover. So I made a mental note of that and thought, well, when the time comes, I'll ask you to do my record cover. So so we did, and it's turned out brilliant. It's actually illustrating just one song, that it's called Idiot in an Audi. And it vents my rage on Audi drivers, not all Audi drivers, but Audi drivers who think that they can drive 90 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone and run over my cats and kill them. And
is that you? Is that you watching? Is that you listening? If that's you, then Will has a few words for you.
I have a few words to say.
On his album.
And you better pay attention. So maybe that should have been.
Right. You touch on this album because I've played this over the last 2 or 3 days, and you touch on things like this, on road rage, on environmental matters, on mundanity in some respects, on having a crush on somebody on the telly, little things in the corners of all our lives. And I had so much fun listening to this. I mean, when your mate tells you that he's written a short story or that he's recorded a song or something like that, you think, oh God.
Yeah.
More often than not, you think, oh, what have I agreed to listen to? But this is, I have to say, Will, I have to congratulate you on this. This is a real achievement. It's a delightful listen. And some of the topics, some of the themes, you can see there are things that mean something to you. I don't think I'd realised that you were the environmentalist that you may be. There's a lot of those little things like that recur. And it surprised me that some of your musical influences in there. I love 80s synth and kind of Gary Newman, Human League, and all that kind of thing. And all of that is in there too.
Yeah. My wife, when you said earlier, how would you classify it? My wife said, interesting, because she hadn't heard any of this until I put it all together. She knew there was a song called Idiot in an Audi, and she knew there was a song called Annabelle Blue Eyes, but and Young Female Grassmere Bus Driver, that's a song title as well. And it's all over the place, the album, in terms of content, the style of it, and the sort of things I'm commenting on. But she said it's like Peter Kay. If Peter Kay did an album, they would have all this sort of observational comedy in it. Now, I didn't think that when I was writing it. I didn't think it was Peter Kay making an album. But I suppose she's right, really. She said she was surprised that it was so uplifting, as you say. So it's fun to listen to, because some of the content is dark. The Earth is getting rid of us is a dark message that we're ruining the planet and it's fighting back. And the song "What's the point" to that? Every verse ends with that phrase. It's really talking about a lack of purpose in people's lives.
People being sort of ground down is the feeling that I got from that.
I suppose this comes out in my 2 Doctor Who's really as well. I am quite a misanthropic kind of guy, really. I don't rate humanity very highly. And I do have this, it's going to get dark and serious for a minute now. I do have this feeling that haunts me all the time that if we were erased, humanity was erased, that might be no bad thing for the Earth and the animals and the atmosphere and so on and so on. So that kind of bleeds through into the songs. I mean, Idiot in an Audi, when you play it, you'll be laughing all the way through it. But I was quite angry when I wrote it.
Well, it does come across in the lyrics, but in the way that it's performed, the time in between writing it and performing it, I get the impression that that some processing had happened, and that's how you come out with this album, which is uplifting. There's one particular track which will be of interest to sci-fi fans. So I looked down the track listing of this, and I was thinking, what's this and what's that? And I saw one called Div, and I thought, and I don't know if you'd even call this a song, because it's like it's less than 2 minutes, this thing, but it's about you taking time off work to go and see a Star Trek movie. And I haven't been able to get this thing out of my head for 2 days, you bastard.
Yeah.
It's very wryly funny. Something that, and I don't want to spoil, because it's kind of got a story to it, and I don't want to spoil it for people. But I have been able to get this out of my head, because it's reminded me of something that sort of happened to me. So it's very you. All the aspects of your life are in here somewhere. I mean, how long had you always wanted to make an album? As you say, if you're not trained, you can't play music in the strict sense. I'd imagine you don't read music.
No. I don't really know what I'm doing at all. I have a fairly basic keyboard with preset drum beats, factory presets, and auto accompaniments. And so I find a style. Oh, this is a samba, right? We'll do something in the samba style. And then you press in. There's a feature on it called concert chord. So you just basically press a key down with one finger, and it will play the auto accompaniment and the rhythm in a particular chord, and then you change it with one finger. So it's as simple as that. And I might play a bit of a melody over the top of it with synth strings or piano. But going back to Gary Newman, there's a concert video called The Skin Mechanic, which was my very first concert video. I'd never seen a live video, never owned a live video, I should say, of anybody's, till that came out. And when I was watching it, and the cameras were hovering on the song Cars, Here in My Car, I Will Say Visible, the cameras were hovering over the keyboard players. And you had a guy called Aid Orange who was doing the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was watching his fingers playing the keys. And then the other guy, Chris Payne, on the other keyboard, he was doing the high strings, the da, 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 da,
Gotcha.
da. And I thought, if I had a keyboard, I could probably replicate that. Because it's simply constructed, it's minimalist, but catchy. So it's really watching the Skin Mechanic video, the concert video, and watching Aid Orange and Chris Payne. That kind of got me thinking I could do something like this. But then also it would hark back to like cult TV and what have you. I remember watching a Blue Peter thing years ago, 1979, I think it was, of Mike Oldfield and Simon Grooms, seeing how Mike Oldfield put the theme music together for the 1980s Blue Peter theme. And that stayed in my head, the way you could layer up track by track. So put the drums on one track, a bass line, and you build it up a bit at a time. Peter Howell, Doctor Who theme, for example. There's a schools program showing you how that was put together, isn't there? So I was caught up in that, and the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, these things from my childhood. I'm thinking that if I had the gear to layer something up like that, I wouldn't need to know how to write music or even play a keyboard that well to be able to do it. So Madness in the Method, for all you guys, is my kind of debut album. For me, I think it's my 7th or 8th, actually. There are several albums that I've made prior to this that I've never seen the light of day, because I've never had access to proper musicians before, you see. This is the first time I've been able to get it realized in a way that's not embarrassing to play to other people. And I'm very happy with it. I couldn't be happier. And that artwork there, I sent the entire album off to Owen Claxton, the artist, and said, you know, I'm not going to give you any brief. Just listen to all this and you come up with an idea for the cover. And he just went for the song Idiots in an Audi. So there's the cat jumping out of the way. I did have a cat killed by a speeding car, because I live on a country road, fairly quiet. As soon as you get away from the town, they're putting the foot down, you know, off up into the moors.
Yeah.
And that billboard picture originally on his original sketch was just a blonde-haired woman looking down, like an advert, you know. And I said, why not instead of the woman, why not have me looking down and passing judgment? So I sent him some pictures off of me dressed up as Leonard Cohen. And that's why I'm wearing the glasses and the trilby, really. It's an attempt at looking like Leonard Cohen.
I was going to ask about your influences, because I had picked up on a kind of Leonard Cohen vibe to it. I mentioned the Human League earlier on. You've mentioned Gary Newman yourself. Yeah. And when I opened this parcel, when you sent it through to me, I thought, I know that kind of look. The feel of this reminded me of bands like Talk Talk from the 80s. And I thought, well, it's sort of somewhere mixed with all of that.
Somebody in the comments said about ska, SKA, ska music. And bands like Madness, you know, I look like I'm somebody out of Madness in that image, don't I?
Yeah.
And recently I was reminded of Ian Jury and the Blockheads. I was about, was it 79 when Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick was #1?
Even I remember that coming out. It was such a big tune, yeah.
I remember my mother hated it because of the sexual innuendo in the lyric. But songs like Reasons to Be Cheerful, 1, 2, 3, you know, there's something in my lyrics, if you like, not all the songs, but I can see looking back, there's something of Ian Jury and Madness, and because that's the era I grew up in. I like the Barron Knights, for example, who were really comical, you know.
The Barron Knights, the Grumbleweeds, the Black Abbots, all those guys. Yeah.
So I think it's like you say, the electronica of Gary Newman. It's the BBC Radiophonic Workshop. It's the world-weary lyrics and melodies of Leonard Cohen. I went to a studio to record a song prior to this album being made. And the guy on the drums, I managed to get to this recording studio for £100. I could make a song, and there was a keyboard player and a drummer. So this is when I took Kelly Fry. The first time I took Kelly Fry into the studio, because I used to work with her in an office, and that's how I knew she could sing. She printed something up and went to the printer to get it, and I could hear her singing to herself. And I thought, if I ever make an album or do anything like that, I must get Kelly on the vocal. So this is in 2007, and I made a song in a studio and asked Kelly if she'd do the backing vocal on it. And you can find this on YouTube on my principal character page. There's a song called "Is It Me?" and you'll hear Kelly singing the background vocal, and you can tell there's real drums in it. And when we got to the end of the recording, so this is a kind of world-weary lyric, and the producer, Stuart, said to me, "So what do you think, Will?" as he's playing it back through the speakers. And I said, "Well, the keyboard player's great. He's really nailed it. Gary on the keyboards and Phil on the drums, it's brilliant. And then you've got Kelly coming in on the backing vocal. And then I ruin it by singing." And I really was not happy at all with how I was sounding. And then the drummer, Phil, just said, "I wouldn't worry about that, mate. There's lots of people who can barely carry a tune who are very successful. Lou Reed, Leonard Cohen, and amongst others." And I said, "Yeah, my friend of mine's a big fan of Leonard Cohen." And he said, "I thought you might be too." He said, "Because this song sounds like a Leonard Cohen song from the late 80s, early 90s, where he was using synthesizers and girl backing vocals. Songs like First We Take Manhattan, I don't know if you're aware of that one.
No.
It's very synthy. It sounds like the Pet Shop Boys musically. And then you get this real deep, gravelly voice. "They sentenced me to 20 years of boredom."
Yeah, he always sounded like he smoked about 60 a day, didn't he?
Yeah, he probably did. But so then when I was being compared to Leonard Cohen, I went out and bought the album "I'm Your Man" that has First We Take Manhattan on it, and I became a massive fan of Leonard Cohen thereon.
Really?
So you do hear the Leonard influence. There's a song on Madness in the Method called "Corona Dale," which is actually about the pandemic. My wife had gone into hospital March 2020, and she'd broken her ankle, and I had to watch the news at home and all these stories of people going into hospital and sometimes not coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd be going in for a routine operation, and then the COVID thing was happening at the same time. And so I was sort of contemplating what if that was to happen to me. So that sometime after that, I wrote the song "Corona Dale," and I wanted it to be like a Leonard Cohen song, because it was sort of me imagining the worst if my wife had passed away. So you've got this this reference to coronavirus, but I also researched online the corona of the sun. I'd gone out on this lovely March day, blue sky, wall-to-wall blue sky, and the sun was shining. I could feel it on my face. And I thought, well, this is the other corona. You've got the coronavirus, and then you've got the corona of the sun, that which we depend upon to live. So I melded the two concepts together in the lyric. So when you listen to it, you'll pick up scientific jargon in the lyric. There's a line that says, "Dark filaments, the quiet night, Column logarithm, when will you be home?" And I don't know what these phrases mean. I just went to this website. I went to this website about the corona of the sun and just with a highlighter pen picked out strange phrases and threw them all in. So it sounds very deep and poetic. But,
Will, you're one of the most modest people I know.
I don't know what it means. But it works very well as a song.
You're too honest, mate. You're too honest.
Alex,
Stephen in the
sorry.
chat, watching on YouTube, says, "Well, listening to the type of songs and topics Will has chosen reminds me very much of the type of diverse subjects Madness used to do." And he's even put you a little sort of shades emoji there at the end of his missive there. So people have picked up on it, I think. So people have heard this very evidently. People talking about your bad manners is another group who were banned from around the time. Isn't it? And I think if people can listen to it and get out whatever it is that they want to, they need to, or see or read in it, that's a good thing too, isn't it? Because that's not in your control. All you can do is sort of record the things, write the things that you want to say, and perform it in the way that you can, and then put it out there. I suppose the process is the same as it is with the writing of the fiction to some extent. I mean, was this for you or for anyone in particular, or what? Because you say you've put together other albums before, but why this one and why now? Why did you feel the push to do this particularly now?
It's really simple, really. It's the fact that I had access to musicians who could really play, and I could afford them. So I began writing, the first song on it is called What's All That About? And I was going to, my stepdaughter had cancer. She was in her early 40s, I think. She did pass away from it. So I was going to Christie Hospital, which is a specialist cancer treatment place. And I was stood outside the hospital. I'm not passing judgment on anybody here, but I was seeing smokers stood outside who were patients of the hospital, and they'd have a chemo drip going into one hand and they were holding a cigarette in the other. And there's just something about that got me.
The duality of it.
Yeah, they've got going in one hand something that will hopefully cure them of the cancer, and in the other something that's got cancer-causing agents in it, and they're ingesting it while they're being cured. And I just had the line, chemo drip in one hand, cigarette in the other, what's all that about? So that became the first line of the first song on this album. So that was 2018. That's when it started. And then I started thinking of other sort of contradictions and conundrums and absurdities in life, and just packed the song with more and more of them. And then I'd gone for a pub lunch with my family some months after, and found this young man with his guitar and his foot station, and creating rhythms by banging his guitar and then doing a bass line, and they were being added and layered, and then he would sing, and he was doing it all on his own. Alexander Hume, and he made his own album called Back of the Pack, and I bought that for £5. And then I just said, do you produce for other people? If I was to send you original songs, could you enhance them and remix them and send them back, for a fee? And he said, yeah. And since then, 2018, 2019, thereabouts, I've been working with Alexander Hume doing that. Gavin Lloyd Wilson, who I spoke about before, Spurious Transients. And then another young man called Sam Jefferson. He's a blues guitarist, and he's been doing some stuff for me as well. So once I was inspired, once I was getting the songs back and thinking, blimey, these sound like proper records. This is what I've been trying to do all these years. So then it became, right, it's got to be an album. And I had a notepad with loads of ideas, and I'm always jotting stuff down. And some of the things are obscure, like the song Div, for example. My friend who that's about, when I played that to him, he said, of all the things you could write about me, and you wrote that. But then there are other things like you say, having a crush on a TV newsreader, Annabelle Blue Eyes, who's Annabelle Tiffin in the Northwest, BBC Northwest. when Carol, my wife Carol, and I went to Grasmere, we getting on this double-decker bus in Grasmere, and there's a woman who looks like she's about 18 or 19 driving the bus, and she sounds like a 50-year-old. You know, all right, love, where you going? Or all this sort of thing, coming out of this like very young woman with a brown ponytail and driving a double-decker bus, weaving it round these really narrow roads. I thought I wouldn't be able to drive a flipping transit van down there, never mind a double-decker. So that became a little 2-minute.
I bet girls like that,
song.
you know, they look like a member of Little Mix, but they sound like Phyllis from Coronation Street.
Yeah. So I send that off I record 2 verses and a little bit for Kelly to do, send it off to Alex, and he says, I hear this as a country song. So I say, all right then, let's have it. And a month later, it comes back with banjo in it and all sorts of stuff, and it sounds like a country song. So I feel very lucky to have found these guys who can make me sound so much better than I would if I was doing it on my own. So I'm now working on more material. I'm working my way backwards as well. I want to, my very early stuff, I want to get all that enhanced and out. Now I have the means to do it.
Yeah. I'd never heard of, I mean, I love the song Annabelle Blue Eyes. I thought that was fabulous. But obviously, because we've all got different sort of hosts all over the country, I'd not heard of the lady in question. This is you with Annabelle Tiffin, is it?
Yeah, Annabelle
Tiffin. If you're watching, looking tremendous, sunshine yellow there in the obviously out in the rain. It was raining in the northwest for a change. So she's heard this, I gather. Then, if you got a chance to meet Annabelle,
so that's that would have been November. That's the Children in Need campaign, and the Pudsey. Pudsey, the little bear, that's the emblem for Children in Need. And what they do is they push this cart around all the different towns and cities in the Northwest collecting money. And you can pledge money for certain things. And by this point, I'd made Annabelle Blue Eyes a song.
Right.
So I emailed it in and said, if I pledge £100, would you play this on local radio? And then they said they would. So I went to Blackburn, that's where that picture is. They were coming to Blackburn, where BBC Radio Lancashire is. And they turned a corner with this. So there was Annabelle, a guy called Roger Johnson, that's her co-presenter, and the weatherman, Owain Wynne Evans. And when she saw me standing on the pavement, she just suddenly went, "Well," like this, and I wasn't expecting her to recognize me, so she must have looked me up, and to know what I look like, and she just walked straight across, and we started talking, and then her co-star Roger came over, and she said, he said, "Have you ever been in the BBC News offices at Media City in Salford?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, it's like a 3-tier building, an open office, and so you've got 3 levels going up." And he said, when she received the song, she blasted it out from her PC, and the whole of the BBC News office heard it. And people were looking up like this, wondering where it was coming from on the lower tiers of the building. So I was very, very pleased to know that. And they had cameras on us, so that this would go out on Northwest Tonight, and we all sang the chorus in the street. Annabelle, Roger, and the weatherman Owain and me, and they caught it on camera, and it went out on Northwest Tonight. So I was thrilled with that, and that was about 5 years ago. This record has taken a long time to get together, because the other musicians, they have their own music going on, they have their families, they have their day jobs, and because I can't afford to keep paying out, for every song over and over. I could have had this record made in a year if I'd have had the talent to do everything myself, or if I'd have had the money to pay people. So it's just taken all this time, very gradually putting it together song by song, until we've got I think there are 16 tracks on it, but there are 14 songs, and some of them are quite short. So it sounds like there's a lot there, but in terms of listening time, there's about 40 minutes worth.
Does Annabelle get a copy? Does she get a complimentary copy like I did?
Oh, she'll be getting a complimentary copy. That's I've ordered a load of them for people who've contributed to it, and Annabelle will get one through the post when when I've got it.
So, if people want to hear this, Will, what's the best way they can get to hear it, get to sample some of it, maybe, and then order it? Because they can buy it track by track or the whole album, can't they?
Bandcamp it is, so it's Principal Character. So it's not Principal L-E, it's Principal A-L. Principal Character .bandcamp.com, and you'll find the album there, Madness in the Method. You can buy the whole thing for £9, or I think the tracks individually are £1.50 each, I think. So if you don't like all of it, just get the ones you do like. If you want it on CD or vinyl LP, then it's elasticStage.com/principal character. At the time of recording this, I've been told there's something's going on at Elastic Stage, something's gone wrong. So keep going back. They're trying to fix it. Keep going back if you want the physical version. The LP looks great.
There's madness in their method as well. It's but I'm sure it'll get sorted out. I mean, I suppose if I've got one more question really about your ambitions in this area, is to take it back to over there, to Doctor Who. I've noticed Peter Capaldi out there touring at present, small venues. Would you ever perform Madness in the Method or select tracks live? Could you put a set together, maybe get out there and give them
if there's enough demand for it, certainly. Obviously, I'm going to have to hire people to play the music because I can't do it. But if there was demand, it would be great to hire a small place and do a set. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That's it. Show him his boss. Give him a good idea. That's what. Yes, no. Just to recap, this is Will's new album, Madness in the Method by Principal Character. That's your stage name, isn't it? Principal Character. Yeah. It is very kind of Neil Tennant, isn't it? So I like that.
Want it to be. I didn't want to put an album out under my own name because I'm very aware. I'm all too aware that without the contributions of the other people, Kelly on vocals, and then those musicians I've named, Alex and Gavin and Sam, it really wouldn't sound any good at all. So I thought, really, we should have a name for an ensemble, a group. And the title Principal Character, I've been listening to interviews with actors and writers and so on. And every so often you'll hear somebody say, really, when you think about it, we're all the principal character in the story of our own lives. We're all the star of our own show. So I thought, well, that would be a great band name, that, because it means me singularly. I am the principal character of all these songs, but as a band, we are the principal character. So that's where that comes from. The album title.
It's not because it's not autobiographical as such, is it? But it's about real experience and things that a lot of people would have related to.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is me, but also it's observational. I mean, there's one song on it that's not about me at all. I heard about somebody's situation and I wrote about it as though it was me, but I'm really relating somebody else's situation. So you'll listen to that song and think, blimey, what happened to him? And it's not about me at all. The title of the album, I don't know if the phrase method in the madness is known outside of the UK, but certainly in the north of England, you'll hear people say, hey, there's method in me madness.
All the time.
And I heard somebody say that and thought, well, in my case, there's madness in the method. And then I had the light bulb moment. That would be a good album title. So that's where that comes from.
It works. It's really cool. It works. I got it. I think a lot of people will get it and will want to get this however they can. So that's Madness in the Method. The link will be in the description as always. And recap those two Doctor Who titles as well. BBC Audio Originals, The Resurrection Plant, and Dark Contract, both still available, whether you want it on a CD or digitally as well. Whatever next for Will Hadcroft. You never cease to amaze me, mate. I hate to think, I can imagine you being out on the road, or maybe, I don't know, abseiling for charity whilst singing. I don't know what it is you're going to do, but it's always entertaining. It's always great to catch up with you, Will. And what a fabulous project. Sincerely, congratulations, mate. I'm always pleased to hear whatever it is that you're up to. And then when I hear you talking about it, it's a delight to share some time with you, mate. You know that.
I'm very happy to have been on to see you all again. It's been a while.
It has been far, far, far too long. Cheryl has joined us for this one. She loves the cover art too, watching on YouTube. Funky Frying Tonight, says Stephen Braddock. Don't know what he's talking about, but if it works for you, then why not? I've got to think cool and things like that. So people have been dropping in and chilling out with us. I'm happy to say thank you, everybody who's found us. Stephen O'Neill has given a potted history of Annabelle Tiffin's career. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Stephen, for getting on that.
That's half the first verse he's just wrote there without realising it.
And we've got people comparing tastes in music as well, which is sort of what you'd expect, isn't it? Matthew Pounder says he only knows Hallelujah.
Leonard, yeah.
Oh, that's a Leonard Cohen track, is it? I don't even know that.
Big
Unless
one,
it's
that,
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'll know the Jeff Buckley version probably better. He did a cover version that was a big hit, but Leonard wrote it. I forgot to show you my T-shirt as well. Look, let's get it. There we are.
He's got merch.
I've got merch. There's only this one at the moment.
But yeah, let us know what you think of Madness in the Method. Get in touch with Will. What socials do you do at the moment, Will? I've sort of lost track. Where can people get in touch with you?
On Facebook. I'm on there. Yeah, I mainly operate on there, but I also have an X or Twitter. That's at Hadcroft Will. Back to front on that one. And I'm also on Blue Sky as well. You'll find me on there. But it's mainly Facebook. Yeah.